Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm glad your internet came back, and we're we're gonna. I even put up a little poster here for you, just to tag this.
I know. I love it. That's so awesome. I just saw that. That's great. Actually, this building behind me here is going to be very famous in about 5 more episodes. So there you go.
Let's chat. I hit record. I think I'm recording. Let me just make sure.
Yeah, you are.
I hit record. Tell me a little bit about when you got the acting bug. Was that from the get-go, or did you kind of fall into acting?
Yeah, it's no, I did not fall into acting. It's something I pursued heavily. My dad was in the oil business, you know what I mean? And so we moved around a lot, and we not the $1 million oil business, but the oil business, and so we moved around. I went to 5 different elementary schools. It was very tough to it was tough to make friends. I was always the new kid, always getting beat up. And the movies were my favorite friends. My mom would drop me off. I would just stay there, then sneak into another one. And they were just my friends. And even in high school, if I was dating someone or whatever, on Sunday night, that was my night. I would go to the movies by myself. I was doing my homework pretty much. And, I was the 14, 15, 13-year-old kid that got down on his hands and knees and prayed this would happen to him. So I went to the University of Oklahoma, and I had a little bit left to graduate, but I said I'm wasting my youth, and I packed up my truck and I moved to Los Angeles, and I didn't know one person. So definitely not something I fell into. This is something highly thought about and very much pursued.
And you're doing very well at it. I looked at, obviously I check IMDb and all of that, but you have been consistently working in this business too.
I've been very fortunate, man. Not only was it a Cinderella story when I started, it's just I've had very little downtime, and a lot of that over the past 13 years has to do with my boss, Dean Devlin, who has cast me in Leverage, and then went on and wrote the role for me in The Librarians, and then we talked about it during The Librarians, but then eventually offered me Almost Paradise, and then going back to Leverage. So,
yeah, that announcement just floored me too, because the character of Elliot is such a deep, interesting character. It's like an actor's dream.
That's the role that I came to Los Angeles to play. Growing up watching, well, let's start with the basics. Growing up watching Van Damme, growing up watching Stallone, that was the kid side of me. And then also watching Robert Duvall, watching Anthony Hopkins want to do what they get to do. I kind of got to do both of those things in one time. And you've talked to Parker, Beth Reescott, you've talked to Hardison, Aldous Hodge. These guys, they're broken toys, and it's so much fun to play. First of all, it's fun to play a broken toy. Second of all, it's fun to play a bad guy. But when you get to use both of those to play a good guy, that's the hero role that everyone comes to Los Angeles to play.
Yeah, and that was the hook in the show, was the bad guys are the good guys. And brilliantly written. Your writers were just incredible.
Yeah, we have a very smart team in there, man. From John Rogers to Chris Downey, and then Dean overseeing. It's just it's a very smart group of people. If you take these people's body of work and look at it, I mean, let's talk about Dean, Independence Day, Godzilla, John Rogers with everything. He's a stand-up comedian who wrote for Cosby with Chris Downey. It's at the same time he's a physicist. People don't understand that he's a licensed physicist. So having that kind of stuff in there, and also him go ahead and take in the bullet for being on the watch list because of all this.
But you're also a musician, and my question I really want to ask you is, do you find that there's rhythms and cadences in the roles you play?
I do. It's funny because it's funny because when you write a song, now you can go out there and rock and roll, and it's changed a little bit. But when I was into Southern rock country music, you have to tell a story, and you only have 3.5 minutes to tell it. And it's kind of what they went through. You only have 45 minutes, minus with the commercials out, it's 45 minutes to do an unbelievable heist, to do an Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12 every week. We did Ocean's 77 because we did 77. You've got to establish what's going on, get in, and then get out with the win. And we did that almost every week, man. It was a whole new movie every week. And for us to be able to do that was just incredible. And I find that the music helped me out a little bit because we were singing a song for 45 minutes, and there was a beginning, you introduce into the rest, and there's the end. Yeah.
And Almost Paradise is a very, very interesting show as well, because it is a reluctant hero who's thrown into this mix. But this rarely happens, where you, as the star of the show, get to sit in the casting sessions.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, I had a say in it. I like to say that I had a say in it. Dean obviously has the last call, but it was very, very important for Dean. I was sitting in Los Angeles, and he goes, "Look, let's go get on a plane to the Philippines. Let's go to Manila." And so Dean really wanted to see the chemistry between me and these people. We read with a lot of fantastic actors in Manila. A lot of those came back and guest starred on the show. But we found Sam Rochelle, we found Articuno, and it just, if I wouldn't have been there, we wouldn't have known what it would have looked like. And maybe somebody else would have got cast, which I think would have been a huge problem for the show, because we're all melding really well.
Yeah. And I talked with Samantha last night. I want to say there's an innocence about her, that's wrapped up in her character of being a hard-nosed cop, but she plays that so well.
Right. She's got a very expressive face. And a lot of the actors that we know and love have that. You know what I mean? So she kind of is like me. She acts with her face. She has facial things that go on that help you believe what we're trying to tell. And it's just amazing. She is an innocent person. This is her first time acting on a show like this, and pretty much first time ever. So for her to get in there and just start throwing punches, physically and literally, it was amazing, man. And that's why me and Dean looked over about halfway through the second episode. We said we found the right girl.
And there's also something very zen about Art. He is a terrific actor, but he says so much without saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about my character, talk about his character, talk about Sam's character, talk about his character. I'm over the top. This guy is like, again, he's covering up his insecurities and his faults with comedy. He's trying to. He doesn't land them every time, which is why it's fun. And then Sam is a broken toy as well. Like we said, we find so much more next week about her past and why she's who she is and why she's a little bit broken. And we're all flying off into the air doing all this stuff, and Art literally stands there with the strings and holds us back. And if we didn't have that character, it wouldn't be fun to watch us fly off the ledge.
You have 4 main characters in the show. The 4th is the Philippines itself. I mean, it looks like a dream to shoot in, but I'm sure there are logistic problems.
There's some things that we ran into. First of all, the weather. Second of all, the heat. As an American going over there, I wasn't really used to all that stuff. And there's also different filming type. They film different ways. This is the first American TV series ever filmed in the Philippines. And they have their way of filming and we have our way of filming. And it was just like, boom, right off the bat. And we had to adjust to each other. And that was what was really fun. But I love the fact that you brought that up. The fact of the matter is that Dean used the Philippines as a lead character. He really did. And so it's not just a backdrop. It's a beautiful backdrop. But I'm literally acting with the Philippines. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. You see sometimes, like on Miami Vice, used Miami as a character. They did. And we're using the Philippines as a character. And I thought Dean was very smart to pretty much put the Philippines on the call sheet.
The show is really a throwback to those great 70s shows that, I like Magnum and Rockford Files. It's got that kind of sense of itself with it. Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but the very first movie I ever did was Ed TV with Matthew McConaughey and Ellen DeGeneres and Rob Reiner, who I just saw in New York. We talked about it. Directed by my very first scene in the movie was directed by Ron frickin' Howard. So it was so like weird. Matthew walked in one way, Ron walked in the other, and I'm standing there going, what the hell? But the second movie I did was called Crossfire Trail with Tom Selleck. Yeah. And I was one of the leads in that. And a lot of the first whole part of the movie is just me and Tom riding around the country on horseback and all this stuff. And so I really channeled a lot of somebody that I look up to, Tom Selleck. I channeled a lot of Tom Selleck from Magnum PI. And I hope he hears this because, I still consider him a friend. And I'm stealing a lot from him because he got it right. He got it right. So
well, if you're going to steal from the best, and the way he approached Magnum was just beautifully done. It's Alex Walker, in 2020 is your Magnum, basically.
Thank you. Oh man, that's the best compliment I've gotten so far.
I know that you love cooking. What's your favorite recipe? What's your favorite thing to make?
Well, I love California Mexican, man. I love Mexican food, but I really love California Mexican. And when I say California Mexican, just fresh avocado, you know what I mean? Fresh, just fresh ingredients, fresh cilantro, fresh all that kind of stuff. But basically Mexican. I was born in Texas. I grew up in Dallas and Odessa, moved to Oklahoma, back, and so that's where my heart is, man. So anything Mexican, I absolutely love to make. I've got a series called Kane's Kitchen that was on iTunes, and it did very, very well. And so we are making a move to New Orleans, and that's the cooking. I took a picture with Emeril Lagasse a long time ago, so I can't wait to go visit him again. And I think I'm going to do another Kane's Kitchen, man. I appreciate you asking.
I want to see like a Philippine mix kind of fusion cookbook from you.
It's very tough, man, because there's balut, which is, it's just, but the Philippine food is fantastic, man. And they do a lot of grilling and stuff like that. And so that's what I'll do. But what I'm hoping to do is maybe over the next year, take the places I go and go to New Orleans, do this, maybe go somewhere else. But then we get back to the Philippines, do something in the Philippines and wrap it all up in one show. Yeah.
I do want to point out what a great turn you did in Secondhand Lions as young Robert Duvall. That was a beautiful performance by him. But you underscored that, because it's hard to do that, play a younger version of someone.
They said you want to come out 2 weeks early and pick up, so you can kind of shadow Robert and all that. And I don't need to do it. You know what I mean? I grew up with Robert Duvall. I knew it, but I did it anyway. And we talked barbecue, we talked everything else. And one of the best things that's ever happened in my life, and you can keep your Academy Award, you can keep your grant. This is the best honor I'll ever get. After the movie, when we saw it at the premiere, I walked up and he was talking to someone, and I waited my turn, and I said, Bobby, I just want to say, and he grabbed my hand before I finished and pulled me into a bear hug and picked me up and bounced me up and down. And he was like, and so to me, that's the best award I could ever get. I played Robert Duvall, and he was excited about it. And so that's the best thing that can ever happen to me.
Well, as you probably know, I live in Utah, and Robert has a ranch out here. You should really come. I know you've been, but you should come out and let's get together in a kitchen.
Perfect. I love it. I would absolutely love it. Dude, we should do that, and we should film it and just have fun, man. And just have a couple of drinks. I could say hi to your wife. I love that, man. And I've been to Bobby's. Bobby's got he's the best beef in the world out of Salta, Argentina. And I've actually been to Salta, Argentina, and seen his ranch. And so that was pretty fantastic. Dude, let's cook.
Let's do it. Let's cook.
I would love to, man. That would be my honor, man. Let's cook something up. That's a done deal. It's a date.
All right. I followed you on Twitter. Hope you follow me back, and we'll be in touch soon. And congratulations on everything you're doing. And Leverage 2 coming out. We'll talk about that soon.
I'm so excited, man. Thank you for your time.
Bye, Christian.
I'll see you. Bye-bye.